Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Brad Lone Wolf, and today we are going to be looking at boots, mid boots and full boots, and following on again from a couple of weeks ago and last week, we're going to be looking at budget, mid-range and top of the range boots, both in terms of mid boots and full boots. I'm not going to do walking shoes, and I'm not going to do winter boots today, mainly because with the shoes there is a lot of choice. There is a surprising amount of choice. As for winter boots, I'm not going to do winter boots, mainly because it's a little bit too niche for this channel, and really once you start getting into winter boots, there's another 3 subcategories within winter boots, and they are B1s, B2s and B3s, and that's to do with their crampon compatibility. Again, not going to go into detail on this video, mainly because, as I say, I think it's a bit too niche. Anyway, with that being said, let's get on with the video, and we'll have a look at the first of the mid boots. And again, this will be the budget boots. So this is what I've chosen: Peter Storm Buxton waterproof mid boots. They retail at £80 normally. They are a mid boot. They are fabric, so they are fairly soft. They are fairly easy to break in. As with all mid boots, they are suitable for low level and up to, I'm not going to give a height, but fairly rugged walking that requires a little bit more than a shoe. Now, with mid boots, and this goes across all mid boots, they do not have the ankle support of a full boot. They are softer than a full boot. They are easier to break in than a full boot. They're more comfortable over a longer period of day over a full boot, but they do not have the same support as a full boot. So it's just something to be aware of. If you're going into the high mountains, or you're going for a long period of time, a long hike, mid boots might not be the best thing to look at. That being said, as I say, these are the Buxtons. These are the budget boots that I would recommend. They are fully waterproof. They've got a good sole on them, good rubber sole on them. They are a mid boot, so they're nice and soft and easy to break in. On the downside, however, the upper and the sole are glued together, so they may not last as long as some of the other boots on here. If you're looking for a budget boot, however, like I say, they are relatively good. They are good for the price. Moving on, looking at the mid selection, the mid-range selection. It's another Peter Storm boot. This time it's the ladies' Filey boot, and again another mid boot. This is kind of the upgrade to the Buxton. The main difference over the Buxton and the Filey is in the sole. So if I bring up the sole of the Filey and the sole of the Buxton, you can see that the Filey has got a much more aggressive grip to it over the Filey. So whereas the Filey is kind of almost a standard grid pattern on the bottom of the boot, the Filey is a lot more aggressive. It's got more space between each of the lugs, and to give you a better grip overall. That's the main difference between them. If you look at the boots side by side, however, let's bring it back. Look at the boots side by side. You can see the similarities. The other thing I forgot to mention with the sole on the Fileys is the Storm Grip, which is slightly upgraded version over the normal bog standard rubber grip that you get in the Buxtons. But you can see the similarities, you can see where the design process comes from. Like I say, same design philosophy as the Buxtons, just with better grip, slightly more. It's a better grip, better protection. The toe box extends a bit further round, as you can see here, compared to there. It's a bit further up, a bit further back as well. Still fully waterproof, still got the Storm Shield waterproof technology in there. So like I said, as a mid-range boot, there's nothing to fault these really. The men's version is obviously comes in bigger sizes. These are just the ladies' sizes. That's all it is. With that, speaking about that, again, the question will come up: do companies shrink and pink boots? For the most part, yes, they do. They just make the boots shorter, obviously because ladies got smaller feet, and they make them narrower. That's not necessarily a bad thing. In general, women have got smaller and narrower feet, so it's not necessarily a case, or it's not necessarily a bad thing of shrinking and pinking. Still need to test the boots out, still need to check the boots, still need to break the boots in to make sure that they fit properly, however, as with any boots really. So, we looked at the budget range, we looked at the middle of the road range. In terms of top of the range mid boot, which one would I recommend, or which one would we look at? It's going to be the men's Moab mid boot from Merrell. Now, I can already hear a lot of people saying, but you don't like Merrell. That's not true. It's not a case of I don't like Merrell. There is absolutely nothing wrong with Merrell. Nothing wrong whatsoever with Merrell. It's the fact that they don't fit my feet. That's it. That's the only reason that I don't recommend Merrell, or don't normally look at Merrell, is because they don't fit my feet. That's it. That's the only reason. Having said that, the Merrell Moab is probably one of the best known mid boots on the market. They have been around, well, I can remember when the Moab was on the market when I started working when I was 16, and that's over 20 years ago now. That's how long the Moab have been around. Now, they've been refined several times. This is the third iteration that they're on now. And in that time, they've always been in the top 5 recommended mid boots on anybody's list. Main reason for this is their construction is fantastic. They've never had a problem with the construction. They've always used Vibram rubber soles. The tread is actually really aggressive if you look at it, so you're not going to have any issues with grip with that. Gore-Tex lined, so absolutely guaranteed waterproof. there's not really much else to say about the Moabs. Um, as I say, they've been around for years. They've proven their worth time and time and time and time again, and they will be around for a long time to come. And as one of the market leaders, so they should be. As I say, with any of these mid boots, you don't have to take my word for it. Please try them out. Please make sure you go for a good fit. It doesn't necessarily have to be the 3 mid boots that I've chosen here. You can go for any of the boots really, as long as they fit. I did forget to mention that the women's Filey, or the Filey boots, are £115 retail, and the Moabs are £150 retail. Looking at the retail prices again, rather than discount price, because this website that I'm using is Go Outdoors, and obviously you can get discounts using their cards. Not that I am sponsored by Go Outdoors. Right, moving on to full boots. So, in terms of the budget version, budget boots, we're going back down to Peter Storm, or to say back down, we're going to Peter Storm, and we are looking at the Milbeck boots. So, before we move on, let me talk about the main difference between a full boot and a mid boot, and the advantages that you get with a full boot. So the main advantage you get with a full boot over a mid boot is better support overall. So the full boot will give you better ankle support, it will give you better heel support, it has a much more aggressive grip, and it's designed for long distance, more aggressive walking, more hardcore walking and hiking. You can do low level, easy walking in walking boots, in full walking boots. There's nothing to say that you can't. However, a lot of people will find them just a bit too stiff, a bit too uncomfortable for low level and easy walking. So, moving on with that, why would I recommend the Milbecks? As a budget boot, and I know I used the term budget and we're looking at £130, it is relatively difficult to get boots, full boots under £100 now. But with budget boot of £130, you're looking at full ankle support, a fully waterproof boot, fantastic grip on the sole with the Storm Grip grip. On the downside, again, looks to be a glued sole as opposed to stitched, which doesn't make it as strong. There is also very little toe box. If you have a look here, there's not much of a toe box, which means that the toes could end up getting scuffed and damaged as you're walking along. Again, nothing wrong with them in terms of a budget boot, but there are some things to be aware of. There's your sole pattern in terms of aggression, in terms of good grip. Yeah, it's good. It does what it's designed to do, and that's all you can ask it to do, really. In terms of a budget boot, they're not too bad. Looking at the middle of the range boot now, this might actually surprise some people, because at one point this would have been a top of the range boot, but it has been surpassed in the years since. It has been surpassed, and this is now kind of a middle of the range boot, and that would be the Berghaus Hillwalker boot. Now you might be looking at this and thinking, Berghaus Hillwalker, don't you mean Brasher or Brasher, depending on how you want to pronounce it? Yes. Essentially, Berghaus bought out Brasher a number of years ago, and all they've done is they've just transferred the Brasher name to Berghaus. Now, did cause a little bit controversy in a certain outdoor community that I won't name because I'll probably get into trouble, because they liked their Brasher Hillwalkers. And they liked the fact that it was Brasher or Brasher. But things change. They didn't like it. Like I said, I won't mention the group or the association. They really didn't like it, despite the fact that all that had changed was the name. Nothing else had changed. Well, the name and the leather that they're made from. But Brasher were going to change the leather anyway. That's a little bit of backstory that's probably not of interest to anybody. Anyway, the Brasher Berghaus Hillwalkers, Hillwalker 2s, they have been about for best part of 30 years. Nothing has changed. In that time, they have cemented themselves as a favourite among walkers. They are a decent boot. They're a really good boot. They are Gore-Tex lined, so you've got fully waterproof there. They're fully waterproof lining, so your feet aren't going to get wet. They've got a sole unit that has been designed specifically to give you a lot of grip in the mud. And to cast off stones as they're going through. The laces are, or the lace points are riveted, as you can see there, to give you extra strength. There's no toe box, but does there really need to be if these are leather? Again, swings and roundabouts. £160. This is pushing the budget for a lot of people. However, £160 for a pair of leather boots that potentially could last a lifetime is actually an investment, or some people would see it as an investment. As I say, if you don't want to go for the Hillwalkers, you don't have to. These are just my picks. These are just what I would recommend. So if £160 is pushing people's budget, the next set of boots that we're going to look at will positively make people wince. Now, I'll go over the reason why these are so expensive when we look at them, but this is the boots that we're going to look at. They are definitely top of the range. Let's just look at them. So they're the Mendel or Meindl Bootans. Now these retail at £280, or best part £280. Now I can already see a lot of people saying that's twice the price of the Hillwalkers, and it's quite right. There's a good reason for it. The Meindls, unlike the Berghaus and the Peter Storms, they are hand-made, hand-constructed, hand-built. So It's not a machine doing the work. This is actually a cobbler actually putting these together, making sure that they are all hand finished. So you are paying extra for that, for not necessarily that privilege, but for that quality. You are paying the extra money for it. They're also German, as you can probably tell by the name, so very, very high quality. Now, some of you might be looking at this and thinking, I recognise that boot. It looks very similar to another boot by Meindl called the Burma, or the Bhutan. Sorry, the Borneo. The Burma and the Borneo. This is basically an upgraded version of the Borneo/Burma. A little bit higher, a little bit denser. Still got that fantastic sole unit on it that's never let anybody down. Vibram rubber, it's not going to wear out quickly. Gore-Tex lined, so you don't have to worry about getting your foot wet. As an aside, the Burma and the Borneo, the main difference between them was the Burma was Gore-Tex lined, the Borneo wasn't. So you had pretty much the same boot, which one was waterproof, one wasn't waterproof. But the Borneo, the one without the Gore-Tex lining, dried out quicker and was recommended more for hot, humid places because it dried out quicker. That's just an aside, again, that nobody probably wanted to hear. So I've already mentioned the Gore-Tex lining, I've already mentioned handmade or hand-built. You can see the rubber rands there, actually runs all the way around the sole. That not only protects the leather, gives you a good toe box, but it also protects the stitching on the bottom. These are actually stitched into the sole unit. So again, high quality job there. At the top here, it might not look it, but this little symbol here will give you an idea. This is actually memory foam. Well, in here is actually memory foam to give you better ankle support, mold the boots better to your ankle, make the boots more comfortable, particularly over a long period of time. With these boots, there is no compromise. And many people who have bought Meindl have never gone back just because of their high quality. They are prepared to pay that price for a pair of well-made boots. And I've had Meindl on my feet. They are absolutely amazing when it comes to comfort. I've never owned a pair because I've never been able to justify the price, but people who have bought them have said that they are absolutely amazing. With that being said, as I've said all the way through this video, you don't have to go for the boots that I've picked. In fact, I would encourage you not to go for the boots I've picked, mainly because everybody's foot is different and everybody feels different in different boots. Please, please, please try on your boots, or try on a pair of boots. Make sure they're broken in, make sure they're comfortable before you go for a walk. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you an idea of what to look for. Thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.